So you want us unmuted?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys unmuted for this, and we're gonna go over the DOM2 project here at Lambda, and we're gonna do we're gonna do 5 different event listeners, not necessarily the ones described in the README. They're just 5 I chose because they look unique or they're common enough that you should know them. So that's what we'll do. We were given this travel page, and I believe it's styled already, right?
Yeah,
Should probably go ahead and get that fired up too.
it's the magic bus.
Is it the magic bus or the fun bus?
I think it's fun bus.
Fun bus. It's not very fun.
It's almost magical, but no.
Users, me, projects, and I think it's called, I think I just saved it as DOM2, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Index. Cool. So there's no like anything, this is all CSS, there's no JavaScript at all. I believe our JavaScript file is actually completely empty. Yep. So we'll start out with the most common one that you're going to use even in React, and that's going to be the onClick event.
Now, is onClick different than click?
Click and double click are the JavaScript for HTML's onClick. So they are, I misspoke. We're going to go over the event listeners click and double click.
Okay.
So I actually wrote this little helper function we're going to use. And this is just to generate a random hex color. And we're going to use that. So when we click on a p tag, it's going to randomly color the text in that p tag. So we can start by grabbing all the different texts. So we'll call it p tags. And we're going to use the document dot query selector all, oops, and describe, like I said, the p tags. So when we grab the p tags like this with the query selector all, what are we going to get back for our data?
HTML collection.
Yeah, an HTML collection, right? So it's array-like, right?
Yeah.
So we can do p tags dot for each.
Bracket.
Yeah, we could do brackets. That's exactly right, and that's what we're going to do. Like we're going to address them by index. That's right. But we're going to use for each to do that. So we get a p tag back, like an individual one, and then we can also use index in for each. So that's what we're going to do. And then, actually, I don't think we need the index. We could just do the p tag dot add event listener, and this is the magic that we're looking to make happen here. So we'll use click, and that takes a function. We actually don't need the event on this function either. So it's probably good practice, actually. Let's go ahead and do the event, and I'll show you what to do with it, because it may not be necessary here because we're clicking on a p tag, which doesn't have any default action with it. But it's good practice to just like prevent anything that might happen. So we'll throw that in there. And then we're going to style the p tag. We're going to take the style color and we're going to set it equal to random color, which is that function I wrote up above. So let's try this out. Refresh it, and we click. We got them changing colors. The reason I chose to do click and double click together is that they're exactly the same. Click and double click. It's literally just adding the DBL here. So now on a single click, it doesn't do anything, but then on a double click, and you can tell I'm double clicking because like it also highlights the word, which is like a prevent or a default action there. Yeah, so that's the only difference. And it should work. Oh no. One second. I was gonna say it should work through all the p tags throughout. I did a dumb thing and I hit Command W, which closes the window. So I just gotta open it real quick. Oh, there it is. Okay. And we should have everything set. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, cool. Any questions on the click or double click or anything that happened here? You guys write for eaches or did you guys use for loops? Because you could totally do it either way.
You could do that with a for loop too?
Yeah, so you could do let I equals 0, I less than p tags dot length, and then I plus plus.
Oh, for each is so much shorter.
Yeah, and then it's literally the same code here. The only difference is that instead of p tag, you have to do p tags and then the thing. So this actually might look a little more familiar to people. But yeah, that should do the same thing. Let me comment all this out. And then reload this. Yep, does the same thing. Yep, and it works on all the p tags here. So that's one of my favorite ones. I like to have fun with these and like do the random color rather than just like turn them all pink and then not pink. That's kind of boring. Like this is fun. So yeah, it doesn't matter which one we leave uncommented, so I'll just leave it like that. And we're good on that, so I'll move on to the next one. I got the mouse over and mouse out. Usually you do them together because you want like a hover kind of effect, you know? Sometimes you only want the mouse over, sometimes you only want the mouse out, but most of the time you want both. Let's see, so we're gonna do it on the links because that's like a normal thing for links to highlight, like when you hover over them, right? So we'll do that. We'll do const links. Oh, you know what? That was actually bad form up here too. This could be a const. We didn't edit it at all. So yeah, we'll do const links. Keep that in the window so you can see it all. Yeah. Well, how are we gonna grab links?
You just do document query selector. Do you have to do all here? I guess you still want to do all because you want to get the HTML.
Yeah, I agree. I think we want to do them all.
And then you could do .nav links.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, that's a good idea. Is it written like this?
Yeah. Is it just link? I think it's just link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he knew that because like I said earlier, we were given this HTML file, and there it is. A tags have a class of nav link. Yeah. So that's what we're going to use. Oh, I didn't have that bar. That's why. All right, cool. So now we have what should be a collection of the links, but let's double check, make sure we got what we want. I should have done this on the last one too, but this is just good practice. You always want to console log as much as you can. So I open up the inspect window, and we'll just go to console. And there we go. We got a node list of 4 things, and they're all the nav links. That's perfect. So now we can, we're going to want to, again, loop over each link and add the event listener, mouse over and mouse out to each link. So we'll do links dot, and we'll just do a for each again. And this is the same deal. We could do this with a for loop, but this worked out better. And so we're going to grab a link. I don't think we actually need the index again, so we're going to go ahead and not get it. A lot of the documentation you read on these, use function instead of the arrow function, and that's perfectly okay too. It's just a preference thing. In fact, my notes from when I did this project has the function syntax. So we'll do link, add event listener, and a mouse over. And then at this point, it's just like CSS. So what do you guys want to happen when we mouse over these links?
Yeah.
I guess we could, how about change the width or something?
Like a bold, you mean? Or
actually, you could just, can't you just change width to like a different percentage?
oh, you mean like by width, do you mean the size of the text itself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we could do like link dot fonts, or oops, style dot font size. Yeah, we could do that. We could do like do like 2 rem. That might be huge, but we'll see.
Now, do you need to do it for each loop? Because you already selected all of them, or?
Yeah, so we can't add a style to a collection. Like we have to.
Okay, so if we just did like query selector and then nav link, you could just do it as a.
You would get one. You'd get the first one.
Unless you edit, then you had to add each one.
Yeah.
This
yeah,
is,
exactly.
So you're preventing from selecting each one by the for each loop.
Yeah. So are you thinking more like along lines of like this, where we do we would do links 0 dot add event listener?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could do that too.
But then you had to type each one.
Exactly. We'd have to type
Gotcha.
each
that makes sense.
So that, oh yeah. And so I copy and pasted it because we're also going to do the mouse out, which looks very similar. And we're going to return that. Oh, I don't know what size they are. They might be 1 rem. You can actually check that real quick. Let's see. Font size is 1.6 rem. Oh, good. So 2 rem shouldn't be too crazy. There it is. Yeah, that's the problem with changing font size sometimes is like, everything moves, especially because this might be using like Flexbox in a fixed width. And so like to keep the spacing equal, it has to move everything. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, there we go. There's mouse over and mouse outs. Anyone got any questions on that one? All right.
We have to type in target.style if we want it to be on that specific item, or does it really matter?
Yeah, so instead of like a link, you could pass this an event, and then it would be event.target. And it does the same thing. And then the thing with event.target is if you wanted to put this on like the whole document, you could, and it would increase the font size for absolutely everything that you mouse over. So we can actually do that real quick. And I just got to comment all this out. Yeah, so again, notice I still have this variable links, but let's just get rid of it. So I'm adding this onto the document, and now everything that I mouse over should increase to 2 rem. That's I haven't tested this, so we'll see together. Yeah, and notice I took out mouse out, so it goes away. But look at this, like everything goes to 2 rem. So like things that were bigger than 2 rem have to go down to 2 rem, and then everything else is going up to 2 rem. Yep. And actually, like even the images are probably getting the style 2 rem, but obviously it doesn't affect an image. Did that make sense? I will just put a little note on this for when I comment it out. We'll make everything in document that we mouse over to rem. And I'll leave that in there for you to look at later if you want. And we're going to need this back. And we can get rid of this one. Okay, double check it before I'm done with it. Yep, cool. Any other questions on that one? So does that make sense that the event is like, the event is a thing, like it's a JavaScript object, and we're applying it, we're applying event listeners, all right, which are functions that operate with those objects, and we can apply them to anything. Like here we're applying them to each individual link, so that happens one at a time. But like here we applied it to the entire document, and there's a listener for mouse over, and then on that event, whatever we are mousing over, that's that event.target. We're applying that style to. You guys seem to get it, so I'm not going to keep harping on it. But all right, next one, we'll do key down. So key down is cool because key down is like checking every key on the keyboard, not just letters, not just numbers, like everything. And so what we're going to do is put in like basically a little keyboard here, where at the bottom of the document, we're going to go ahead and print out all the keys that we're hitting. And then we'll also console log the key because I want to see those key codes and give you an idea of how to use key codes later on. So we'll do that. Key down. And we're going to make an output's one word. We're going to make an output box. Create element. It'll just be a p tag. And we're going to go ahead and put that output at the very bottom of the page. So we will grab the body. And we'll append our new p tag to the body. And so hopefully we haven't broken anything yet. Let's take a look. We'll inspect here. We should be able to go to body, and at the very bottom of body, there should be a p tag, which I don't see. Oh, it's because it's called output box. Try that again. There it is. There's our empty p tag. It's down here. We just can't see it. It's going to be below the footer even. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now we're going to, so on key down, we're monitoring the entire document. So we can add the event listener to document or to window. I'm going to add it to the document for no particular reason other than just it looks more familiar. Add event listener. It's obviously just called key down. And then I'm gonna do this. Oh yeah, we are gonna need the event on this one because the key is on the event. And I'll show you what I mean. So we're gonna take our output box and we're gonna change its text content. Oh, interesting. That should be okay. I don't know if this is going to work actually. It might break because there's nothing in there and you can't add a string to nothing. Like it might freak out. It might be okay. We'll see. And we're going to add the event.key. Like I said, the key is on the event. So we'll find out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it did work. So there's my keys. Look, it even gets the shift. It registers command. That's a meta, alt, control. So that's command, alt, and control. Yeah. Tab. Like all the keys get registered. Even backspace. Backspace doesn't backspace it. It gives you a backspace. Actually, I don't know if there's a way I was gonna print the key code, but I don't know if it's on there. Let's see. We can console.log the event in this case and look for it real quick. You guys are total hackers now. We just made like a keylogger. We're gonna steal people's credit cards and passwords. Let's see. Console. Oh yeah, I gotta make it happen. We'll just hit a single letter. We'll hit D. Oh, I hit 2. I said a single letter and then I hit 2. All right. And here we go. We have a keyword event, and the code is key, capital D. Usually letters are numbers though. Let's see if it's in there. Oh, it tells you if the shift key was on. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Oh, there it is, 68. And so you can do like, you need that because you would have to, you could do something like if event dot which is equal to 68, then we can do something. And in this case, I'll just do something simple like an alert. You hit D. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There we go. There it is. Like you hit D. Now, if I hit another letter, I hit A, that alert doesn't come up because it passes the if statement. So key codes are a good way to go rather than doing event dot, like you could do event dot key and then put in here the string D, but you don't necessarily have something you could put there for every single one. Like every key has a code. Not every key has a string you can give it. But yeah, it still works that way too. All right. Oops. Not trying to be inappropriate. There we go. All right. Any questions on that one? Let's move on then. We'll go to scroll next. So scroll, I did something kind of nauseating with. So if it gets too much, let me know. But what we're going to do is if we scroll down, we're going to blur the images more. And then as we scroll up, we will unblur those images. Oh, oops, copying from the wrong place. Document dot. So we're going to select all of the images. Select her all. We're going to start out with a blur of 0, and I'll show you guys how I use that in a minute. And then we also need to mark down our last known position, like our last known window position. So we'll start that at 0 as well. And then we're going to add the event listener here. And this one's going to be on scroll. And I don't think we need the event, but let's go and grab it for now anyways, just in case. I can delete it if we don't need it. Oh, Windows not capital, sorry. And then, so if last known position is less than the window dot scroll Y. And that's a special property on the window that tells us like basically our new position. Then we are going to blur plus equals 1. And then
Where are you at?
oops, I forgot a curly brace.
Where are you at? No idea where that
Is that Robert? Thanks, Robert. All right. We'll throw an else on there. So if it's obviously greater than, which you could be more specific and put like another if statement or an self, then we're gonna subtract a blur away. So one bug that I did run into with this that I couldn't fix, but it wasn't that important to me, was if you scroll too fast, it doesn't work at all. So that might be something that you want to mess with later. And then we're going to update our last known position with our current position, which in this case is scroll Y. And then once all that's done, like right now we've just been messing with variables. We haven't actually done anything with the DOM yet. Then we're going to go through our pictures and we're going to add that blur to them. So for each, we got a pick, and we're going to do pick.style.filter equals, and we're going to give it the blur. Blur. So in CSS, blur takes like this and then a number of pixels like that. And so what we're going to do is string interpolate our variable blur, which is a number. Yeah, that should do it. So go here, go to the top, refresh it. So like I said, if I go really fast, it doesn't work. But if I go slow, still doesn't work, which that's not good. Let's see, what do we do wrong? We'll check console. Make sure there's no errors, no errors. Anyone see it? Ah, got it. It's last known position, not last known. Let's see if that fixes it. Oops. Oh, man. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't even know what Command R does in Vim, but it did something weird. All right, all of our code is still there. All right, now over here. It's still not blurring. Let's go ahead and be more explicit here, because something might be going on with the if else. This might not be firing like when I expect it to. So what we'll do is put last known position is greater than window dot scroll Y. Oh, no, don't save it. Command R. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on here. Event blur if last known position is less than window dot scroll capital Y, then blur plus equals 1. Let's try console logging our blur. Make sure that's working. What else should we console log? We'll console log our last known position. Make sure that's working. The only other difference between my sample code and what I did here was I did this in a for loop instead of a for each. But I don't think that should matter. As long as I got, oh yeah, I better console log pics to make sure I got all the images. Let me label everything so we know what we're looking at.
I think you have a typo on line 8. You're missing a C for scroll Y.
Aha, yeah, I am. Thank you. This is pair programming, guys. Okay. Still not getting it. So let's check our console. Oh, okay. I must have another typo somewhere. Yeah, I have somewhere. I have las, not last. Right there. Oh, that's where I'm console logging it. That's useless. Oh, there it goes. Now it's working though. Yeah, so as we scroll down, it starts to blur more and more. And then if we scroll up, we see it start to focus back. But like I said, the bug is, I don't know why, but if you do it real fast, it does nothing. But nice and slow, and there it goes. Cool. So I think, who was it that caught that missing C? Oh, Robert? Yeah. So I think that fixed it. But then this also broke it, like console log, me trying to console log something that didn't exist. So yeah, that did it. Cool. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Now it makes me wonder if our else statement would actually work here instead of this if statement. Let's try that. I don't see any reason why not. But then I couldn't find any reason why that wasn't working. So okay, so it definitely blurs and it unblurs. There we go. That's what we wanted. All right, let's keep going on then. We're all good on scroll. I think the
I
last.
have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Like I know, like the point of this, we had to do 10 separate or unique ones. So like a lot of it, like you might end up doing things that aren't like a real world sort of thing, but you know, it's just to like do the thing.
Yeah, totally.
But for that thing that you just did on the image blur, that looks like it could be cool. What would you actually use that on in a real thing? Like maybe like a hover?
Like
Or
adding the blur to something.
yeah, like when would you do it?
Yeah, so maybe like
Well,
yeah, like a hovering over like a background image. So like if you were,
nice.
you could have something maybe not blur, but maybe blur with like a transparency. If you had like 4 pictures in a row, right, that were like nice sharp images, and then you hover over one of them, you could blur it and make it transparent to like reveal text behind it or something like that. But that would be on a mouse over, obviously, not like a scroll, but that's just like one thing you could do. Yeah, blurring is a CSS thing more than a JavaScript thing. So
All right, cool. Thanks.
yeah, no problem. But yeah, you will have to work out the bug of the scroll not working when it's real fast. So my last one was going to be the drag and drop one, and I didn't get a chance to pre-do it, so we're going to stumble through it together. And what I wanted to do was to take a p tag and drag it to another p tag spot, drop it, and then have them switch. So that's what we're going to go for. Anytime that we do something that we don't know how to start or do, we'll go to the docs. There's a drag event right there. Ignore all the Dragon Ball Z things that came up. Let's see. So with documentation, I generally go to like the sample code first. Why isn't this loading?
Like it going away or something.
Do I have to open it? Yeah, that's weird. I've never had to open it before. I go to the example code first, and it looks like we have a drop zone, which is a div, and we got some other divs called drop zone. And we got this div, which doesn't look like it has to be a div. It could be anything. It's got a draggable true. It's got an ID of draggable.
Sounds good.
And then it looks like they put the on drag start. Oh, this is the HTML example. I see. So in JavaScript, we would do, we'd set up a var dragged, and we'd add an event listener called drag. Document.add event listener drag start. I'm not sure what this comma false does. And it doesn't look like it ever changes. So we should try that without it and then with it. And we can actually open this code pen and take a look at that. So it looks like the thing that is happening is right here. And if event.target class name, ooh, we're gonna have to look up event.target and see if it's a different p tag that we're dropping it on top of, because we don't want to drop it on top of an image and it swap around, right? So that's gonna be something we're gonna have to check event.target and see if we can get like a tag name or something out of that. That'd be cool. Yeah, so then we'll be able to do something like this. But ours will have text in every one and they'll like swap. So that's what we're gonna go for. Shrink this back to what it was. Let me grab some of that code actually and just bring it on over. JavaScript. This is a lot of code. We're definitely not going to need all of it. So it looks like some of this code does stuff like when you grab this, notice how like as you hover over one, it turns a darker purple. That's the drag enter. Drag over has a prevent default. I don't know why, but we should probably keep that in. If they're trying to prevent a default. Oh, prevent default to allow drop. Oh, I see. So we have to do that. And I think instead of just a document, we're just gonna make them we're gonna use our p tag variable that we made earlier, which oops.
Which was p tags, right? Or p
I'm pretty sure we just called it p tags. Yeah, yeah. So we're just gonna use that one. But yeah, let's go for it. Let's quit talking about it and let's do it. I don't see where they use dragged yet, so we'll take that off. We'll leave the comments in here. I guess we'll leave the false for now too. I don't know what it is.
What are you going to use as your drag zone?
So the p tags themselves are going to be draggable and also our drop zones. Does that make sense? Store ref on the dragged element. Drag equals event.target. This makes sense to me. And this is where we should add, instead of on document, it's going to be on p tags. And then the event.target can only be p tags. And that's what the dragged variable is for, so we are going to need that. So let's put that back. Let dragged. And then event.target.style, it looks like it just makes it see-through. So this div is draggable. Yeah, it leaves it see-through right there. See that? Oh, that's kind of cool. So we'll leave that. That's cool. I like that. And then drag end. What's the difference between drag end and drop? Reset the transparency. Oh, I guess that's just happening to the thing that we are dropping. So reset transparency. Okay. So I think that this needs to stay document, and I think this one needs to be p tags. I think that this event listener is what makes the thing draggable, and then the rest of them need to be on document because we're going to be dragging it around the document. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that's the way to go there. We're going to want that. We want to prevent the default throughout the document so that way we can drop it. Drag enter. highlight potential drop target when the draggable element enters it. So I think that this, we're also going to put p tags on. And the background, we won't do purple because that might be a little weird on our page. We'll do light blue. And this is the thing where the event.target.class name equals drop zone. We actually have to, we're at the console log our console log. Sorry, I was thinking and typing at the same time. Our event.target to see if we can get the fact that it's a p tag. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go through and add class names. So let's stop there for now and go see if we can get that console log. Make sure, okay, something broke. ptags.add event listener is not a function. Oh, right, we can't add, cannot add event listener to a collection. So we'll have to do a for each here. Which does not seem right because let's just leave a document for now and see what happens, and then we'll fix it as we go. We have it somewhere else too, right there, line 20. Okay, so it's not broken anymore. Can't drag nothing. You're always able to drag images, that doesn't count. Okay. What are we missing here? Got drag star. This div is draggable. Oh, that's right. They have a draggable equals true here. We may need to add all this actually right here to our HTML for all of our p tags. So this may take a little HTML manipulation here. Let's just follow it the way that it says here. We will oh no, why'd they do it this way? They have multiple p tags in one area.
I mean, wouldn't it be easier just to add a class to the p tags?
Yeah. You mean add a class
On
how?
the page,
Oh, using JavaScript.
or just on HTML page.
Yeah, that's what I mean, what do you mean? That's what I was planning on doing.
Oh, okay.
But now that you mention it, it might be easier actually just to loop through all the JavaScript and add these things to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. We're in a JavaScript class. We can JavaScript. So we're not going to be adding classes. We're actually going to be adding.
Wait.
What was that? Okay. P tags for each. That means that each p tag we want to do p tag dot draggable. Is that right? Draggable. Yep. Equals true. That might need to be a string. We're at the C. And we're actually going to do multiple lines here. And p tag dot on drag start. equals, and this ugly string here. Oh my gosh. P tag dot on drag start equals. There we go.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yep. What's up?
When I did this, after dropping the thing into the drop zone, I'm losing all my styles on the element. And I'm wondering if that line right there is what's causing it. 'Cause
Oh, it's possible.
I never did figure out what is actually doing it.
Yeah, this one here, event.datatransfer.setData text plain null. That's possible, yeah. Let's get it working, and then we'll come back and
Are your
test that.
tags have any styles right now?
I don't think so, but we can. Our p tags. Remember, we set the thing up so that way we can add colors to them, random colors. So we can do that and then test it.
Okay.
And then we also want to add this class drop zone. What is that? That's how do you do that? That's class list add, right?
No, do you need to add, or is it just class list?
Class list gets all of them. Let's see. JavaScript add class to HTML.
I think you had it right.
Yeah.
And then in parentheses, you would put in a string the class name.
The heck. W3 school, you let me down. Oh, there it is. Yeah, classlist.add. .add drop zone, which is a ride I've never been on because I'm afraid of heights. I can't even watch that ride operate, man. This thing freaks me out. Let's see if there's any magic there that worked. Yep. Oh, look at that. Kind of just like works.
Wow.
So obviously it's adding, but we want it to swap. So let's work that out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And that was just working off the documentation and like adding classes because like we didn't, I guess, so I'm learning this with you guys right now. I want you to know that. And so I'm making deductions here based off what you saw and what I just saw. And I'm thinking that these event listeners use those class names kind of like under the hood. Like obviously here's drop zone, right?
Right.
So like that class name is not under the hood. That one we set. Like we can see that one. I think though that the draggable equals true. That's obviously really important. Like that doesn't work. That's not in this code anywhere. And still our A tags, well, that's interesting. Our A tags do work. Look at that. Whoa, and they appended themselves to the P tag. But like our H's don't work. Our buttons don't work. Like those aren't draggable, but all of our P tags are draggable. So anyways, all that to say, like there's some under the hood experimentation that we have to do here. And then there's some stuff that we can recognize that we're doing. So let's see here.
What is your drop zone right now? I'm kind of confused.
They're other P tags. So P tags are drop zones and draggable.
They're both?
Yeah, they're both. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And so what we can do here, this is where our things happening. Like this is where our logic is happening. It's removing the child dragged. So it's removing it from, yeah, it's removing whatever it was dragged, and it's taking it and putting it in the, this is the p tag we're dragging, right? Dragged is the p tag that we are dragging. The parent node, in this case, is the div that holds welcome to Funbus and this p tag, right? When I drop this thing, so notice it's still there, right? But it's just like its opacity is grayed out right now. When I drop this thing, it's going to remove the child from it. And which child? It's going to remove the child dragged, which is this one I'm holding. So that's why it goes away. And it goes away so completely that there's no drop zone here anymore. There is no more p tag here. And on drop, it also is appending to the target of the drop. And so it's adding it on, right? So now that we see where those two things are happening, we can alter them and make something else happen. And that something else is we're going to want to swap the p tags. That way we keep the same number of drop zones and we keep the same number of draggable things. So what we'll do is we'll set up a temporary variable here. And we'll set it equal to event.target. Yeah, that'll work because we're already going through an if statement. So we know for sure that this is a p tag because it has the class name drop zone. So we're going to store that, and then we're going to event.target.parent node. I don't even think we have to do all that actually. We can just do event.target equals dragged. And then we can do this logic here. We'll keep that up where it removes the old thing. And then we can do drag.parent node.append child. And we'll give it the thing that we're currently on. So event.target.
So we're adding everything to the end of the where you're moving it to.
So right now, this is where we're taking it from. Drag.parent node is where we're taking it from. We're going to, on a drop, we're going to remove the p tag that's there that we're holding, and we're going to append the p tag that we're dropping on top of, all to where we dragged it away from.
Gotcha.
And then we also want to, on event.target, we want to do this.
You spelled target wrong on the append line.
Oh, thank you. I don't think this is going to work, so let's take this out. Yeah, we got to fix this. Let's put notes here so that way we know what's going on. Drag.parent node is the place where we dragged the p tag from. We are removing the p tag from that place and adding the p tag we are dropping on to the original place. Does that make sense? That was a confusing note. I think that makes sense. Event.target. What are we going to do here? So we do want to append, but we also want to remove the target. Let's try what I had before. Event.target equals dragged. I don't know if that'll work, but let's try it. We didn't even use this temp variable I made, so we might be able to get rid of that. Okay, so let's figure out what happened here. Adventure, web design, pretty, design goes away, and then expedition gets copied over here. Okay, so this line didn't work. The event.target. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Like expedition moved over here. It did what it was supposed to do, and it removed the other thing, but this didn't work. Okay, so we're gonna have to do event.target. Let's just follow the same pattern as before. Parent node dot remove child, and that's going to be the child we're removing is going to be the event dot target. Everyone see what's happening here? The event dot target dot parent node is going to be the div that's holding our event dot target, our p tag, and then we're going to want to append dragged. Yeah, that should work. So we don't need this. Let's try that out. So adventure, web design, pretty, design. We're going to swap that with expedition down here. What didn't work there? Oh, this needs to be parent node. Let's try that. Okay, so traveling, expedition. We'll change that with adventure, web design. Uh-oh, that didn't work at all.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, what happened there? Let's see, any ideas? Dang.
So it's just removing it. It's not doing anything else.
Every time I drop it, it just removes. And the tricky thing is because like all these words are like identical, I can't see what's being removed and what's being. Okay, so adventure gets removed. Traveling didn't get removed. So this didn't work. Let's check out that remove child thing. Node.remove child. Let's see. Method removes a child node from the DOM and then returns the removed node. This append's not even working now, right?
I'm just wondering, just a question, if append child should be above remove because it's still like cascading and it's going to read the last one. I mean, I know you're appending child, but I'm just wondering if you'd swap places.
Yeah, we could try it. Oh, we got to refresh. So traveling went back and adventure got removed. Traveling was dragged. Traveling was dragged and this didn't work. Expedition should have moved here. Why didn't expedition move there? Adventure stays here. Okay, so what is working? Removing the target is working. This line right here is working. Right?
Or is the drag working? Because isn't the drag the p tags or no?
So expedition, right, in this case is dragged. Adventure is event.target. And they both got removed. Oh no, expedition just gets append to the parent, so it just moved down. So yeah, the event.target got removed. So this line of code is working. Appending the dragged did not work. Is there a typo in there somewhere? Doesn't look like it. Maybe because we are removing the child on this line here, we lose it. So let's store it here and pass that here. So now adventure is dragged, traveling is event.target. And same thing, that didn't help. Now it's not appending, which is weird. How did they do it originally? Event.target.append. Okay, so instead of a parent node append, what if we just did that? So adventure's drag, traveling's event.target. Did we lose them both?
Looks like it.
Oh, that's weird. Yep, now we're losing them both. Okay. Well, let's mark this one as working now. Yeah, now, okay, so both removes are working. Our appends are not working. Event.target.append, dragged.parent node.remove child worked. What if we just do drag.append? No, we got nothing. We got anything in the console? Oh yeah, the console's been screaming at us. Failed to execute append child on node. The new child element contains the parent. New child. Okay. Let's console log dragged to see what it is, because I've been thinking it was a p tag the whole time. But if it contains like a div, I can see why it's breaking. No, it is a p tag. Where are all those other console logs coming from?
So where was it getting draggable?
That was HTML that we put in up here.
Oh, is that from the for each?
Yeah. See, we put. Oh, did I spell it wrong? No, it's working though because I'm able to drag things.
Right.
So. And we got that out of the documentation here. Draggable.
Okay.
Oh, draggable. Oh, there's an ID draggable as well, but we're not seeing that used, right? And we don't want just one draggable thing. Nobody sees the ID draggable being used, right?
Mm-mm.
Let's double check that in their code pen and take it out. Let's see.
Definitely broke something.
Looks like it was just used for styling. It just had that white background.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet if we go in the CSS, yeah, there it is, draggable. Okay, so it should work without it. So that's fine. I don't know what this is doing. Hey, man, I don't know. Can you guys think of another way to like add these things rather than just blowing them up?
You could start by creating an empty drop zone with nothing in it. And then, that would put.
I just thought of something that we could do here, which that was I see what you're saying. That's a good idea. But without messing around too much with the HTML and making an empty spot, what if we saved the text content of the p tag, the draggable? We save that to a variable temp, and then we set text content equal to temp for the event.target. So it'd be event.target.text content equals temp, because temp would just be a string. And then we could do the same thing for the dragged area. Does that make sense? Let's try it. I think that's a good idea. I'm not 100% sure. What is it called? It is text content, right?
Yeah.
So let's console log it. Go to our console. And it is just a string. So this is beautiful. I think this is what we want to do. So we can do let temp equal this, the text content. And then we'll actually, let's do event.target here. We should probably console log this too to make sure that this is just a string. And then dragged dot, we'll just dragged dot text content equals temp. Oh, that's not going to work. Did I do this backwards? This should have been dragged dot text content. Yep, dumb. Which we already tested and knows works. So, well, actually, let's leave that there for now. Dragged dot text content. This is going to be event dot text content. Event dot target dot text content. Here we go. What do you guys think? You think this is going to work?
I'm not sure.
You see what I'm going for?
Yeah, you're just replacing the text.
Let's see. I don't know. I got high hopes. Damn, it just removes them again. Oh, well, we don't have to remove anymore.
That's what I was about to say. It's like I think it would work, but then it's throwing me off that you're removing them.
Yeah, we don't even have to remove them anymore. That's right. Hey, what is going on here? I said reload. Save. Reload. There we go. It's because now I got all these tabs. I always get on people about their tabs and then I go and do it. What a hypocrite. Oh! That did it. Yes. That's exciting, guys. We did
So
it.
now, does it do it on all everything, like even the nav and still,
No,
or
it should still only work on P tags.
okay?
Oh, yeah, wait. That's right. We did have that little bug where nav worked. Yeah, it does do it on nav. I don't know why. Are those P tags? That's weird.
I think so. I think they're just A tags, aren't they?
That must mean that somewhere under the hood an A tag is a P tag. Because no, that's not right. Let's see here. Where did I grab all the P tags? P tags, I did a query selector all P. And then index.html. Those are just A tags. I don't know, man. That's tripping me up. I don't get that. It must, like, you see where it says home right here and about us? Like,
Maybe
under the
it's
hood, that must be a P tag somehow. And for some reason, it's not on an H. Oh, wait a minute. Did an H just work too? It did. So it's working on all text for some reason.
right.
This is really odd. But then look at that. I can't drop it on top of what? Oh, that's trippy.
Is it because of the for each loop?
Yeah.
And now look, I can change the color of the. Oh yeah, because that's just the text that's inside of the P tag. I have no idea, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. That one's confusing the heck out of me. It doesn't work as a drop zone, but it does work as a draggable thing. Well, it's not letting me grab Fun Bus. How was I able to grab that other one? I don't know. I'm not that familiar with drag and drop. Like, it's pretty miraculous that we got this thing to work as is. So I'm not 100% sure. That's a weird one. Let's read through this a little bit. So yeah, I'm only grabbing all the P tags, and then all those P tags, I set up a variable called dragged, and it's empty. And then I loop through all those P tags, and I make them draggable. I took this line out. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Let's see. Does that make it? Come on. Nope, I can still drag it home. So, oh, okay. Maybe some things are just draggable by default. Like, look at that. So that's actually draggable by default, see? Like an image. And so it breaks our code. But, like, we added the fact that P tags are draggable. Like, that's a new feature that we added. And so for some reason, A tags must be draggable. Does that make sense? Because here I am, I'm taking this image, I'm dragging it, because you're able to drag images, that's a normal thing, dropping it on a P tag, and they're swapping text content. But there is no text content on an image, and the text content, oh, now it's like shooting me in the foot here, and it's not doing what I expected. Where, oh, because that one has text content now, because we gave it to it earlier. Look, if I take Expedition and I put it over here on the, or take this image and swap it with Expedition, right? This image has text content of the Expedition. And so since I'm swapping text content, there it is. Does that make sense? Like, there's text content there. It just doesn't matter because it's an image tag and these other things are P tags. But, like, it has the property. So, like, I could take traveling, give the, or swap text content here. So now this image is going to have text content traveling, which it doesn't show, like it doesn't matter. But when I go to like swap something else on it, it swaps the text content still. That's pretty trippy. Anyways, all that to say, we got the thing to work. It's doing what we expect a little bit. Like we're able to like figure this out. I don't understand this line, so let's leave it out. It's not doing anything for us. But we looped through all of our p tags that we got by using query selector all p. We gave them this attribute draggable because remember these are just objects, right? And so we're just giving this object a new property called draggable and setting it equal to true. Then we took its class list and we added drop zone.
Where are you defining p tags? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, we did that earlier for a different thing. So it's up here at the top, right here for our click and double click.
Huh.
Yeah, we just did it earlier because we added these event listeners for clicking on it. Oh, which we didn't check because Robert actually brought up something about styling. So like if I make these different colors and then I swap them, looks like, did the colors stay where they were? Pink in top left? Yeah, the colors stay and the text content changes. Anyways, so yeah, we got the p tags. We looped through them. We added draggable true. We added drops under the class list. This must be just like the thing that you have to call in order to even make this a possibility on your page, right? Because it's completely empty. I don't know what this false is doing. Let's get rid of it. Let's see if it affects anything. Shoot, let's get rid of. Nah, it probably needs this. We'll leave the function there. I'm gonna be honest though, I'm not sure what it's doing. Let's comment out the whole line and see what happens. Yeah, it still works without that line. So we don't even need that. Drag start. This makes sense. This is what's giving it the opacity from the paragraph that we're leaving behind, right? So we need all that. Do we need the false? I don't think we need the false. Yeah, we don't need that false. So drag end. This is like when we're done dragging and we're getting ready to drop, and it looks like it just resets the opacity back to nothing. So we're definitely going to need that. Event fired on drop targets. So these are event. Oh, I see. I see their style of commenting here. These are all the events that happen on the draggable, and that is we set the opacity and we undo the opacity, right? Drag over must be the hover thing, and so it says we need the prevent defaults. Let's comment it out and see if we actually do need this. Probably. Yeah, look at that. I go to drop it and it doesn't do anything. So we do need that prevent default. That's good to know. We probably don't need this false.
Now, they might be just using a true and false just in case you want to remove it later, right? Is that
doing what with it?
Like remove it as like remove the event listener? Don't you have to have the same? Don't you have to have if you're removing it? Don't you have to have that true and false at the end?
If you're going to remove the event listener?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. That's good. Good point. Now that you've given me something to Google, second argument, event listener, false. There we go. Why is false used after the simple add event listener function? Yeah, and this is actually what I was going to do once we were done here is look that up because I wanted to know. Let's see. Use capture. If true, use capture indicates that the user wishes to initiate capture. After initiating capture, all events of the specified target will be dispatched to the registered listener before being dispatched to any event targets beneath it in the DOM tree. Events which are bubbling upward through the tree will not trigger a listener designated to use for a detailed explanation. Capturing and then bubbles up. This behavior standardizes. Okay, so this is something pretty advanced with bubble up, and I'm guessing that false is probably the default. That's why we can delete it and nothing happens. If you wanted to set it to true, it looks like something then you'd have to look into this to see exactly what's happening here. Interesting. Definitely gonna take more research on that. I don't feel qualified to answer a question about it right now, to be honest, but that's my guess why we can delete it. Like if you see it as false, like you could probably just get rid of it because the default is false. Drag enter. We don't need to console log this anymore. Highlight, potential, drop target. And that's when we changed it to light blue, which I think was a nice choice, way better than the ugly purple they had. Don't need the false. Drag leave, reset background. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think with this one here though, you're gonna want to be careful because yeah, ours are white right now. So by setting them to nothing, like that's fine. But if you had them set to something, you're gonna want to set them back to that. And you don't always know what they're set to. So my suggestion here would be when you set up this let dragged, I would set up like a variable to store, kind of like how we set up the temp variable. Set up temp, like a temp variable, something like initial background, and set that background color there by grabbing it, capturing it, and then when you go to reset it, give it that variable again. You see what I'm saying? So that way when your designer or whoever else is going in the CSS and they're like, what the hell? Every time I drag something, it goes to red. We had it set to red months ago. I don't understand. You know what I mean? And then actually I'll go ahead and leave our notes in here that we figured out and get rid of the false. Okay, so now that we've gone back and trimmed up the code, let's make sure that it still works. Saved it, refresh. Oh, that was the same text content. That freaked me out for a second. All right, yep. All right, we're back. It works. So we're gonna call this one done. Any questions on that drag and drop? That was a hard one. I picked the hardest one to not go off an example and just do with you guys. So that was tricky.
It definitely was.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start the record. If there's, did I stop?